How are you, dear students, and welcome back to our today's science session. In our today's science session, we are going to be talking about a new topic, which is rocks. We are going to be talking about rocks. As you see now, rocks are different sizes, shapes, and colors. And also, I want to tell you something that some of these rocks can be formed in a long time, or can be formed slowly, and another can be formed quickly. Now, as we mentioned before in the session of minerals, we have to learn how do scientists classify rock? Because we learned before how are they classifying minerals. So let's see right now rocks. How are rocks classified? Right now, let's start by one important way for scientists to classify the rocks according to their what? See how they are formed. About how they are formed. About the formation of this rock. Some rocks are formed from, the volcano, and another rocks can be formed from sediments. And we have different rocks, and another rocks may be formed by atmospheric conditions. Before we start, we just will put the classification for this into. We'll see now how many types of rocks. What I want from you this session to remember this classification, please, and remember the names of the main groups of these rocks. So let's get started. Now, types of rocks. We have three types of rocks. The first type called igneous. The second type, it's not a new thing for you. I know that you heard about this before in quarter 3. It's called sedimentary. We have the third type of these rocks. It's called metamorphic. So right now, try to remember at home the three types. The first one, yes, perfect. Igneous. Second one, sedimentary, and the third one, metamorphic. Please don't forget these three words. Before we start, I'll show you just a quick video from the website to personally realize about these three types to know what the difference between them. And as we mentioned, that scientists classify rocks according to how they are formed, about the formation. This comes from which place? I told you some rocks can be formed from volcanoes, and another rocks can be formed from sediments, and another can be formed by atmospheric conditions like pressure and heat. So let's start now by showing you from personal lives this video. After that, get back to remember together the three types.
The Earth's crust is made up of a lot of different rocks. Scientists classify rocks based on how they are formed. There are three main types of rocks. How they are formed. There are three main types of rocks: igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. Igneous rocks form when melted or molten rock, called magma, cools. An example of magma is lava flowing from this volcano. Once the lava hits the water, it will cool and become igneous rock. Pressure is another way that rocks form. When layers and layers of sediment settle on top of one another and harden, the pressure creates sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks are neat. You can see bits of rock, soil, and dead plant and animal matter. Metamorphic rocks are rocks formed when heat and pressure are combined. The combination of these forces, along with sedimentary, igneous, and other metamorphic rocks, can form new metamorphic rocks. The constant changing of rocks over time is called the rock cycle. Got it? Sure you do. The Earth's crust is made up of a lot of different rocks.
Right now, we mentioned in this video some important things. The first thing right here these three types, we have here igneous, sedimentary, and the third one, which is metamorphic. Now we are talking about the igneous. Igneous comes from these volcanoes. Look here, we have the volcano or the lava of the volcano. When it hits the water, it becomes rock. We have another, all of these are called sedimentary rocks. Yes, perfect, because it's made of sediment. Our teacher, what the meaning of the word sediment? Sediment. Do you remember in quarter 3 we mentioned that word sediment? Sediment, we said that sediment, do you know in any desert when you see sand, shells, and small bits of rocks, all of these together, we call them sediment. So sediment are three things or three main things: sand, bits of rock, small rocks or bits of rocks, and shells. We can call them sediment. So let's start now by continue our session about the three types. We have here igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. Sorry for repeating, but I want you today to keep in your mind the three names because they are. I think that you have a new word like igneous and metamorphic. Metamorphic, I know that you learned it before in quarters in grade 3 in life cycles, but actually now it's about rocks. So let's start by igneous. Igneous rocks. We have here igneous rocks. Form. This is the most important word. Form. We are classifying rocks according to how they are formed. Perfect. So how they are formed. So when melted or molten rocks called magma cools. Look, remember together the igneous. I have here a volcano. This volcano rock, and now this is magma, or we can call it in another way. This magma lava. One example of magma is lava flowing from volcano. Here, this lava, when it hits the water, right here, I have a lava, and this is a water. When this lava hits a water, it will cool. When it cools, it becomes what? Yes, rock. When a small part of lava cools, this part it becomes rock. So once lava hits the water, it will become igneous rock. Sorry for this word and. So now this is the first type of rocks, igneous. Now please try to communicate between the word igneous and the volcano. Igneous rock, it comes from the lava from the volcano. Okay, now let's move to the second one, sedimentary rock, formed when layers of sediment. We mentioned that the word sediment means sand, bits of rock, and shells. So when layers of sediment settle on top of one another and harden. So if I have here, let's look at this. I have this layer or small part of sediment. After this, another layer comes and settles here. Yes, settle above the other or on the top of another one. Then another one, then another layer. You'll see these rocks like different layers or many layers above each other. Layer and a layer, another layer. All of these layers will press each other or make a pressure above each other. So finally, it will become a strong or hardened like this rock. So we call this kind of rock which is made of these layers. When you see it like these layers, it's called sedimentary. In the video, he said the word neat, N-E-A-T. The word neat, it means well arranged or perfected, or you can say mastered. Something beautiful in its shape. It can give you a specific shape. This sedimentary rock. So now finally the last rock we are going to talk about here, metamorphic rock, form when heat and pressure. I told you before, and you watching this video, and I will repeat the video again at the end of this session. When heat and pressure combine together, they can change the igneous and sedimentary rocks to metamorphic rocks. Also, that all the metamorphic rocks, they can be changed into new types or new kind of metamorphic rock. So finally, these metamorphic rocks, how did they form? Yes, perfect. How we form this kind of rock? Perfect. We can use those atmospheric conditions, heat and pressure. Yes, perfect. They are formed by heat and pressure combined together and then act on igneous and sedimentary rocks, and also some kinds of metamorphic rocks. So finally, right now, I will show you the video one more time, but actually before the video, I want you to remember with me, we have three types of rocks. We have igneous rocks, we have sedimentary rocks, we have the last one, metamorphic rocks. Now is a classification. How are rocks classified? We learned that scientists classified all these rocks according to how they are formed. The formation of each kind of this rock. So we have igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. Sorry because I'm repeating this word because it's the first session, but I want you to remember all of these in your mind. So right now, igneous, we learned that igneous comes from from volcanoes or magma. Yes, molten rocks from magma or volcano. Right now, when they hit the water, perfect, they change it into igneous. Now, sedimentary. From its name, it comes from sediment. Yes, sediments. When these layers of sediments settle on top of another, yes, perfect, they will become layers and layers again. They will become sedimentary rock. So now finally, metamorphic rock, they depend on atmospheric conditions like heat and pressure when they act on igneous and sedimentary rocks, and also, as we mentioned, the old or the other metamorphic rocks, they will give you new metamorphic rocks. So finally, let's watch this video from Person Realize again to remember together the difference between the three rocks. It's very important to know the difference between them.
The Earth's crust is made up of a lot of different rocks. Scientists classify rocks based on how they are formed. There are three main types of rocks: igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. Igneous rocks form when melted or molten rock, called magma, cools. An example of magma is lava flowing from this volcano. Once the lava hits the water, it will cool and become igneous rock. Pressure is another way that rocks form. When layers and layers of sediment settle on top of one another and harden, the pressure creates sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks are neat. You can see bits of rock, soil, and dead plant and animal matter. Metamorphic rocks are rocks formed when heat and pressure are combined. The combination of these forces, along with sedimentary, igneous, and other metamorphic rocks, can form new metamorphic rocks. The constant changing of rocks over time is called the rock cycle. Got it? Sure you do.
Now guys, I wish you understand the difference between the three types of these rocks and put in your mind what are these rocks. Now I want to thank you for watching this video and watching this session. I want you today, please, to remember the three types of these rocks. Remember the definitions right here, like this. Definition number 1, like this definition for igneous, and definitions of sedimentary, and the other definition of metamorphic. Try to remember the definitions of all of the three kinds, and remember the names, because I want you today to differentiate in your mind between them, to know the difference. When I say the word igneous, you remember the volcano. This rock comes from volcano. When I say sedimentary, you remember the sediment, and the rocks comes from these sediments. And finally, metamorphic. Remember the heat and the pressure. I want you to remember all these in your mind, because inshallah in our tomorrow's session we are going to be talking about two things: igneous and sedimentary. I don't want you to be confused or upset. I want you to be to feel satisfied, and to feel I understand the difference between each kind and the other kind. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I wish you all the best of luck. Thanks so much, guys.